So those of you that know me well will know that I have absolutely no time for big pharma. Um, Most of the big corporations like big food, big agriculture, big pharma, all of these, all of these entities are profit driven. And when you become profit driven and not product driven, and effectiveness of product that you're producing is not your sole purpose, and profit becomes your sole purpose, then everything becomes compromised. The whole integrity of the organization becomes compromised. So I'm going to go into a few things about big pharma here that may shock you. I can't believe that these guys do this. I mean, I don't know how these big companies have thousands of employees that must all be evil people if they're pushing the same agenda. So let me just quickly tell you. So there are, I mean, firstly, we were looking at the vaccines. You know, that was in our face controversial. Like, people were plunged into fear. It was a very clever tactic used to make people fearful, create this disease, make people fearful, and then give them very little time to make a decision on it. And people, when they're in fear, generally become sponges for false information. So they'll take any kind of information and they'll use it, and they'll be, okay, I don't want my kids to die. I don't want my, and people were already dying from COVID. So it was like, this is a no-brainer. These people have said that their vaccines are safe, and they've come to save us, and we're going to do it. Well, let me just go into quickly who these people are, who said their vaccines were safe, but yet insisted on being completely immune to any prosecution should something go wrong. Like, they already knew, man. They already knew that people were going to be dying. I've had 4 friends die, and it's all vaccine related. And like in short succession, 3 of heart attacks and 1 of brain cancer. The one with brain cancer, it was, I mean, I don't know how they did this, but there was an organization in Cape Town that confirmed that it was a vaccine injury. This guy was 28 years old, got the vaccine, 6 months later had this aggressive brain cancer and eventually died. So I mean, I don't even have to go into that, but yeah, let me just go into some facts, some things that have already been proven. So this is what these 2 lawyers found who are hired in these high-profile lawsuits as expert witnesses when they dug into documents that were made available to them by these pharmaceutical companies. Obviously, these pharmaceutical companies did not want them to see this, and they hid it away very deeply within their archives of their sordid researches that had been done. So this is what they found. So there would be letters written by ghost writers approving certain products, that saying that these products were safe, that the studies have been done and are completely safe for human consumption. And in actual fact, when these 2 authors looked into this, they found that these articles or these approvals had been written by ghost writers, and then psychiatrists and other doctors had been paid off to put their names on these research documents to give it some kind of credibility. I don't know. For me, a psychiatrist, if his name was on a paper, there would be no credibility, firstly. So, I mean, these guys are evil as all hell. They're the evil of this planet. They're behind everything that's going on, and I don't think that's just my opinion. I think a lot of people are starting to realize this. So, these documents were never meant to be seen outside these companies. So it is quite interesting what came out here. So let's start off with Paxil, which was GlaxoSmithKline's little blockbuster drug that was designed for teen depression. And it brought in $11 billion, this drug. So the GlaxoSmithKline apparently ran the study called Study 329, which found that the usefulness of Paxil was no better than a placebo. In fact, what it did was, in most of the cases, was it increased suicidal thoughts in teenagers. So this is the deception here, is not just trying to sell something to you so that they can make a bit of a profit. These guys were willing to take your teenage child and have him be more inclined to commit suicide and make a profit out of that. I mean, what kind of a person does that? You've got to be so disassociated with society to be able to put something like this out into the market. I mean, I can't conceive of being able to go to bed at night. I mean, this is like Hitlerish, you know? It's like being able to go home at night and put your grandkid on your knee and bounce him on your knee while you're telling him a story while other people's children are dying from your drug and your deception. And you're okay with that? You know, I mean, how do you justify that in your own little world? So this company ended up paying a $3 billion fine when they were eventually exposed. And this drug was pulled from the market, but they literally profited $8 billion. So what do they care? You know, what do they care that your child or your grandchild or your nephew or niece, you know, committed suicide or life is ruined? You know, it's just ridiculous.